Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I wanted to give you a review for Heimdall from the Thor Ragnarok update. And I wanted to review this character because I got him to tier 2. I've been playing around with him a lot, and I think while he may not shine as the most important character of this update, and while probably all three of the characters are going to be overshadowed by the 4 new uniforms, I think he's a great character. I think he has the possibility still to get a uniform and transcend even farther and become even more important and more powerful. And I think he's a very fun, well-balanced, well-made character. And you know, frankly, we don't get a lot of those lately around here. We either get a lot of overly powerful characters that are imbalanced, or we get underpowered characters that are also imbalanced. So I wanted to shed some light on Heimdall and why and how you should build him if you're looking to invest in this character. So he is the only universal that we got from this update as far as new characters go. Valkyrie and Scourge are both combat types. He's the first universal we've had in a while, and he's probably best described as a defensive-oriented character with a wide skill set and a wide tool set or toolkit of available weapons that he can use and kind of stats and skills that he can use. And he also has a very solid role to play in Extreme Alliance battle if you're just looking for an average score. If you don't want to invest in Odin, or you don't want to invest in Thor for whatever reason, I believe that Heimdall will be able to get you around 100,000 with very minimal effort and with very minimal kiting because of his 4-star passive, which we will get into very soon. So I think those are the pros of the character as far as what he can do and what he's capable of. He's kind of a jack of all trades, but being a jack of all trades means you're also a master of none. And I would probably more closely compare him to someone like Amadeus Cho. Lots of defense, very tanky, got a little bit of everything, but not particularly good at anything. No standout values. So he's not going to impress you with his skills or his damage output. He's not going to impress you with his crowd control for Shadowland, but he's going to be solid in any one game mode that you put him in, provided you build him up properly. Just full disclosure, I've chosen to build him up defensively, so that's what you're going to see from my stats and my gear, but you can definitely build him offensively to kind of try and balance him out. And while I didn't personally get scores above 100,000 in Extreme Alliance battle with him, I know that some other people in the community have made clips of that and have discussed it, and so I think around 100,000, maybe 150,000 is a reasonable expectation for Heimdall if you're going to build him for Extreme Alliance battle specifically. Now, as far as Heimdall's skills go, he's got a pretty interesting skill set. He's got iframes on his first skill. He's got a wind-up iframe on his second skill. He's got a guard hit on his third skill. He's got regular piercing slashes on his fourth skill. And then he's got an iframe at the beginning of his fifth skill, followed by an AoE effect. So quite a wide range of different abilities. Ideally, when you're going through Heimdall's rotation, you want to begin with his third skill, as the usage tip tells you at the bottom. The reason for that is it applies a debuff to the enemy, it applies a buff to Heimdall, and it gives him those guard hits that you need. However, you can cancel out of this skill as soon as you cast it, so you just want to see that golden ring around Heimdall to indicate that the Eyes of the Watcher have activated, and then you can move on into your other skills. What I think is really cool about Heimdall is that a lot of his skills look like they're kind of juggling or hit stunning the opponent with his sword, and that creates kind of a fighting style action arcade feel, especially when you're going one-on-one and you're just hit stunning the opponent over and over and over again. So I really do like that style of play, but given the fact that he has a long cooldown on his third skill and a long cooldown on his fifth skill, you're going to have to grow accustomed to his skill rotation and get comfortable with it. But once you get comfortable with it, he's surprisingly tanky, and he can survive a lot of time attacking stronger enemies because of these facts and factors that we'll get into later. So he's got his third skill, which you want to start with the buff and with the debuff to the enemy. Then I like to go into the fourth skill. The fourth skill is his only skill that doesn't provide any protection whatsoever. This is just straight up damage. So you want to follow up the third skill with the fourth skill because you're taking advantage of that 6 guard hits for 5 seconds once you've ranked up the skill to level 6. Before level 6, it's not going to give you that much. but I usually skill cancel 3 immediately into 4. 4 has 4 or 5 slashes, I believe. It's going to end with a horizontal slash. You can cancel 4 towards the end if you're taking too many hits, and that's when you want to go into his first skill, Chain Slash. The blade damage is okay. I find that it actually does a surprising amount of dot damage, especially in things like Shadowland. But this is a full iframe, and this is his bread and butter move. You're going to be able to do, or you're going to want to do Chain Slash as often as possible because it's an instant iframe, it provides some protection, and does decent damage. So after you skill cancel the 3, you do the 4, you do the 1, now you have a couple of options. I like to go into the 5th skill because of the burn damage, because of the stun, and because of the AoE DPS, but you cancel the 5th skill as soon as Heimdall lands again, because after that he's just going to stand there while the AoE happens, and it's not an iframe. Also, canceling the 5th skill doesn't take away the extra damage that happens when the ground kind of pulses, so you don't have to worry about that. After the 5th skill is cancelled, I usually cancel it into the 2nd skill. Keep in mind that the 2nd skill has a stun, but the first part of the 2nd skill is kind of close range punches, so Heimdall will not have the iframe. The iframe happens in the 2nd part of the skill, where he starts to do some upward slashes with his sword and he gets off the ground. So sometimes you have to time the 2nd skill properly so that you don't get punished by an enemy who may hit you before your iframe triggers on the 2nd half of the 2nd skill. And then after the 2nd skill, I like to go back into the 1st skill, kind of like Iron Man, where he double dips on certain low cooldown skills, and then you can repeat the rotation all over again. Because Chain Slash at 6 seconds and Invasion Blockade at 7 seconds have such low cooldowns, you can actually do 1 and 2 and Kite quite frequently in Shadowland if you prefer, so that is another option for you. In addition to all of those skills, Heimdall also has some very powerful effects on his 4-star and tier 2 passive. His 4-star passive gives him 3 pretty strong effects. It gives him immunity to blind, which is extremely important, and specifically important for Extreme Alliance battle, because the Frost Beast on Universal Hero Day does trigger a blind effect on you when he hits you, so this makes you immune to that, so you can run any leadership you want to boost Heimdall's damage. You don't have to worry about Odin's leadership. And then it gives him dodge rate 5%, which is negligible, but then it gives him ignore dodge 10%, which is a good offensive tool, great for Shadowland, great against speed types with guaranteed dodge. Then his tier 2 passive, which is even better, gives him bonus damage, gives him 35% guaranteed dodge, which is a huge number that's going to help make him even tankier, and then it also gives him a decrease in incoming damage by 25%. So I was really intrigued when I saw this. It makes the character hugely hard to kill, because even when you manage to hit him, when the guaranteed dodge doesn't hit or doesn't roll properly, you're still going to be getting your damage reduced by 25%, on top of whatever defenses he has, on top of whatever leadership, etc. So he takes very little damage when he does take damage, which is only like 2/3 of the time. So he's a very, very tanky character, and I thought it would be best to accentuate that with the build. As far as the build goes, the character gear, you roll up to 20. I rolled ignore defense, but you can roll whatever you need. As far as the Uru goes, I went for physical attack and dodge, and I'll explain why, but you could also go for physical attack and max HP, and then leave that 5th Uru for either, dodge or skill cooldown or ignore defense, whatever you might need. As far as the Obelisk goes, you have a few options. I think max HP is a fantastic option, and I actually got really lucky. I rolled a double max HP with invincibility, which is basically, I think, almost perfect for Heimdall, but you could also roll something that natively has dodge, because you're going to get more out of max HP Urus than dodge Urus, and also max HP Urus are easier to farm for, so you may have more of them than dodge Urus. I happened to get this one, although I had rolled a dodge Obelisk previously, but I think either max HP or dodge will be great for him. You could also alternatively go for something like all defense on the Obelisk, and then you probably want invincibility. However, if you wanted to use Heimdall for Extreme Alliance battle, of course you'd want something like crit damage, crit rate, and a damage proc. Alternatively, you could go for something like crit damage and ignore dodge, because he only has 10% natively, so I thought it would be quite awesome to give him like an extra 30 or 40% from an Obelisk, and then he could, easily tango with the spiders and things like that in Conquest, and he could be kind of a secret weapon against them. As far as the ISO 8 set goes, I don't see too much value in binary power or something like Stark Backing or even Drastic Density Enhancement, because Heimdall really doesn't get hit a lot. And it's the same reason why I don't recommend Guard Break Immunity on his Obelisk, because between the iframes and the guard hits and the guaranteed dodge, he really doesn't get hit all that often, so you really don't have to worry about that. So I think it's very fair and wise to just go straight offense on the ISO 8 set, Power of Angry Hulk or Overdrive, whatever you get first. Finally, you can't farm the character if you're looking to get him. You can't farm him through any game mode. You're just going to have to use Shadowland Bioselectors and rank up tickets. So he's not difficult to get, but he's not farmable with energy. So you're going to have to save up a little bit of Bioselectors or get them from login events and then use them if you want to unlock and rank up Heimdall. Lastly, I want to leave you guys with a clip. It's actually not a successful clip, but it is a high-level stage of Shadowland. I believe it's stage 25 or 26 against the Warriors 3 and Loki, Thor, and Odin, the Asgardians. So Heimdall takes on his brethren, essentially. And I just want you to realize and see just how tanky he is. It's a completely solo affair. He's using his own leadership, so these were his exact stats: 9,000 physical defense, 8,800 energy defense. Because of my Obelisk, he's got almost 36,000 HP, and he's basically unkillable, which is awesome. So hope you guys have enjoyed the Heimdall review. Let me know what you think of the character. Let me know if you've ranked him up or if you've ranked up another character and you want me to do a review of them. Subscribe if you're having a good time, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care. Wow. Ran out of time.